Chewbacca was my man. Let's have a look at the cricket shows that are coming up in June, because they're at slightly different times and on a different day. It's Sunday, the 5th of June, Sunday the 12th of June, Sunday the 19th of June and Sunday the 26th of June. The first two at 8 o'clock in the morning and the next two at 8:30. So bear that in mind, the cricket show moving when we're not live from its Saturday slot to Sundays in June. Now, focus there from Adam Dark on the Ashes in the show, and that's what we're going to do with our team of experts, Geoffrey, Alec, Athers, Simon and Richie Benaud, of course. Richie, is there anything you've seen that you think England have to do better than they're doing at present if they're to win those Ashes?
Yep, they've got to bowl better. I've only seen them for 2 days here, and although they've knocked over Bangladesh, they've got to bowl better. They've got to go up a level when they're playing against Australia. They bowl like they did here, they're going to be in big trouble.
Has there been a point in the last year, say, when you've seen them bowl to that standard?
Oh, I've seen them bowl brilliantly. That's why I think this is going to be a very close Ashes battle, because it depends on the bowlers for me, the England bowlers, that is. And I've seen them do wonderfully well. That's why my opinion of their chances has been elevated.
Athers, have you got a single element?
Catching for me. I think going to win the Ashes, you've got to take your half chances. And looking back at the last 2 or 3 Ashes series, England have really fluffed a hell of a lot of chances and half chances, missed crucial catches at crucial times, and that's often been the difference between victory and defeat. Now, they're caught well in this game, but in fact, throughout England's winning run, they dropped a lot of catches in the slips as well. In the West Indies 2 tours ago, it was about 18 catches. In South Africa last winter, it was about 13 or 14 catches, so they've got to catch better.
Alec, you've been part of some extraordinary letdowns, really, against Australia. As you look back, has anything stood out as to why that's been, other than, say, talent?
Yeah, we've been beaten by a better side, but the biggest thing is in very few of the Ashes series have we kept a fully fit squad. We've either started on the last Ashes tour down in Australia, we took Flintoff and Gough, who were half fit and proved not to be fit enough to stay on tour. We've had Gough breaking down in '94, and to me, the secret to our success if we're going to win the Ashes is to make sure that we can pick from a fully fit squad throughout.
Simon.
2 things, Mark. I'm picking up on Rich's points about bowling. Harmison doesn't take wickets with the new ball. In the last 13 tests I've looked at, he only took wickets in his first 5 overs twice, so he doesn't really strike with the new ball well enough. And I'd contemplate maybe giving Flintoff the new ball occasionally if he doesn't hit his straps early on. He's a fine bowler, but he seems to take a bit of time to get into a game. Secondly, Hoggard, very fine bowler now, but he no balls too often, and I think that deflects from his attention up the other end. No balling is an infuriating thing. It can create wickets which then aren't allowed because, you know, you've no balled and overstepped. I remember once actually getting Geoffrey out here with a no ball. Not only did it make my father apoplectic, but it focused my mind on everything else for about the next 3 months. And you know, no balling is infuriating for teams and bowlers, and they've got to get that right.
Our Ashes review was taking a different journey, Geoffrey. Hughes knocked you over then.
I can't remember it. I can't remember Simon ever getting me out.
Well, I didn't, apart from that.
Jeffrey, what would you pick out?
Well, the batting, it's been patchy. If you look at South Africa, we won with great strength of character, we're mentally tough, we're a good side, but it has to be individual performances that pick us up. If we're going to beat Australia, you have to bat well, all 6-7 batsmen. For instance, Flintoff made 2 half-centuries only. It was nothing in South Africa like it was in the English summer. Michael Vaughan's not been the force in Test cricket that he was 2 years ago in Australia. He's been a goodish player, but he's not been a world-class player. Then Thorpe didn't make it really anything like he can in South Africa. He just had 1 decent innings. And I could go on. I mean, the wicket-keeper who has some talent, he's a happy hooker. Anything short, he has a dart at, it's 6 or out. And I just feel that they've got to go up a level. Richie talks about the bowlers winning the matches and going up a level, but you also got to say, if the batsmen bat poorly, they actually lose the match for you. So batting well, consistently, making decent totals, puts you in good positions for the bowlers to win the match. And I don't think we bat consistently well enough. It's too patchy.
Would you stick with the batting side chosen here?
Not necessarily. I think I'd get Peterson in. I'm not convinced about Thorpe. I thought the timing of it, he should have spoken to the selectors about what he's going to do in the winter. And maybe teach him a lesson. I'd leave him out the next test and I'll give Peterson a go.
Can I just... move back to your point about these injuries and maybe bring Athers in here. Is there an argument that says that because you're playing against Australia, injuries take on a different turn? A niggle becomes a serious injury, a mental weakness becomes a broken mind.
Yeah, what you got, Mark, is the added pressure playing against Australia, the very best side. There's nothing bigger than an Ashes clash. And we gambled on the last tour. We took Flintoff in the hope that he would be fit. It proved that he wasn't. The selectors possibly panicked there. We had Gough, who we thought had the better of Australia. He didn't bowl a ball either. So we've got to have that belief. If everyone has the belief that we can beat Australia, having listened here, it sounds as though we're useless, England.
Well, but Athers wouldn't say that. Athers thinks we've got a real good
Well, I believe we
chance.
can beat them. I think this squad of players, as I say, I'll keep repeating it, I played in 7 losing Ashes series. This is the best squad of players that have taken on Australia since I started back in 1990.
That's my feeling. Athers?
Yeah, I think England have got some improvement to make. If you look at the makeup of their side age-wise, you'd have to say they're on an upward curve. They've still, all their players can still get better. With Australia, you'd have to say that a lot of their players are at the peak or just past the peak. So the graph may be coming slightly downwards for Australia. Players like Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, great players though they are, they're 36, 37 years old. So you're not going to see any improvement from those guys. There's still a bit of improvement that England can make.
Richie?
Yeah, they're 36, 37, but they're playing like 30-year-olds, and England will have to get up a level if they don't. Now, catching's another thing. The Australians have been dropping some catches in recent times, but don't forget they create so many opportunities that, I won't say it doesn't matter, but they pick up on the drop chances very, very quickly. When Jeffrey was just talking about leaving Thorpe out as a sort of a disciplinary measure, it took me back many, many years to when the selectors left Jeffrey out after he'd made 246.
That went well with you, didn't it?
Oh yeah, I really still remember that, Mr. Insel. I always say good morning to him when I see him.
Simon, you're Richie.
Oh, I must just say one thing. I mean, we have sounded a bit hypercritical, and these guys are a hugely impressive unit of players, very fit, very disciplined in most of the areas of the game. You know, they're impressively talented as well. And I would say one other thing, beating Australia last summer in that one-day series is a huge psychological advantage.
Go on, Ed.
That's the biggest thing, Mark. I mean, it's the belief. I've been in the dressing room when we've played Australia, we've gone 2 test matches down early. You walk into the dressing room for the third match, you look around and the belief isn't there. It's we're going to get done again, we're going to be beaten. Even in Brisbane, when Nasser won the toss and stuck Australia in, they piled up runs on the first day. There was a bit of, here we go again. With this group of players, they know they're a good side.
What about external influences? I think that the country getting behind the team, I go back to Ian Botham and Bob Willis at Headingley and think about the extraordinary fervour that developed around Britain. It carried itself forward to Edgbaston, and you felt that the country was with the side and almost galvanising it. I also think that the media have a part to play. There's a tendency for the media to knock rather than to lift, and I think that if there was a sort of overwhelming force behind the team, it would help too.
I think the team have got to play well, though, to get people behind them. And we had a very small example of it in '97 when we walloped Australia 3-0 in the one-day series. We won by 10 wickets at Edgbaston in the first test, and you could feel that country really getting behind you. And it was a great feeling. It was a small period, but it was nice while it lasted.
In a way, the important thing about that game was grasping the initiative straight away, wasn't it? You know, England bowled so well, took wickets early on. That's what Ponting always says about Australia. Get the first session under your belt. That's what England have to do.
Richie's right, I think, that we are definitely the number 2 side in the world. We've earned that right. We are a good side. But when you play in Australia, they've been world champions now for over a decade. They play great cricket, play winning cricket, and so we have to lift ourselves. It's not us talking the England side down. I don't think so. Not trying to be hypercritical, but to be number 1, you have to go up quite a step. So we're pointing out certain areas where you have to go up to the level of the Aussies. You can't wait for the Aussies to drop down to the number 2 level. We have to get up there a little bit more.
Thank you very much, guys. Interesting. I mean, the general view then is that it definitely can be done, but there are improvements to be made. Is that how you sum it up?
Absolutely.
Australia will start as favourites, but we're capable of beating them.
Yeah.
It's like Fred's prophet at the Oval in 1882 with the first match that made the Ashes. This thing can be done, he shouted in the dressing room.
Right.
One word, discipline.
Discipline.
Agree with it all. England can do it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Enjoyable. Thank you everybody behind us too. We've got good weather here. We've got some cricket come 10:30. In the meantime, if you want to watch the Ashes, watch this.
Fancy getting hold of a pair of tickets to every day of the first Ashes Test match? Well, courtesy of npower, we're giving you the chance to win just that. All you have to do is answer this question. Against which team did Bangladesh gain their first Test victory in January 2005? Was it A, the West Indies, B, Pakistan, or C, Zimbabwe? If you think you know the answer, then call this number, 09068 440444. Calls cost 60p per minute and will last no more than 90 seconds. And if you're the lucky winner, then a Lord's Ashes season pass is yours. Your prize, courtesy of npower, includes 2 tickets to all 5 days of the first npower Ashes Test at Lord's, a chance to meet and watch the game with Mike Gatting, the last England captain to win the Ashes, a tour of the Lord's Media Centre, and a signed England cricket bat. So here's the question once again, and the number to call, 09068 440444. You can take part as many times as you like throughout this first Test match. Good luck.